I don't know what's going on in this culture about job shaming. I don't know what it is. I've in the past I've allowed myself to get wrapped up in it, so I'm not immune to it. But it's this actor. Even being an actor, he had a regular job when he wasn't acting. I'm from the Cosby Show. I'm gonna cue it up, let you hear it. The guy's name is Jeffrey Owens, and he was working at Trader Joe's, and people found out that he was working at Trader Joe's, and he was a former actor. Well, he's still an actor. He was an actor on the famous Cosby Show, and so when
Right.
people saw him in there in Trader Joe's a couple years ago, they was job shaming him.
That's corny. I don't like that.
And so this is an interview not too long ago from that time, but now up to this point, in present day, it was a few years ago he was getting job shamed. But then I'm just giving you a backstory on the interview that we're about to talk through. But job shaming, but now he's talking about how he's still struggling today.
I still struggle to make a living.
Oh.
I struggle every day to make my ends meet.
Former Cosby Show star Jeffrey Owens is still struggling to make ends meet. The actor sits down for a recent interview with V103 Atlanta's Big Tigger Morning Show, where he reacts to being job shamed after a viral post in 2018 that showed him working behind the register at grocery store chain Trader Joe's. In the new chat, the 63-year-old, who became well known for his character of Elvin on The Cosby Show in the 80s and 90s, defends his side hustle and shares what it was like to be job shamed by the internet.
Someone came in and took pictures of me, and I was like, well, now that this is breaking,
Right.
I'm not going to feel comfortable working in this store wondering if this customer, wondering who's around with a camera, it's going to be just too
Okay,
weird.
got you.
I'm a very private person, I don't want to be doing my job thinking that every other person might be having a.
So they was job shaming my man at the time. But when you hear that, I'm gonna kick it over to you, Ken. What are your thoughts?
It's it's funny that they ran up on him in Trader Joe's with a camera, but I hate that they did that to him. Like, because no, like people act like they're above certain jobs, and just to hear him admit that he's still struggling to make ends meet like regular people. He's figuring it out as he goes, and so it as I heard him share that story, it just made me think like, I mean, I'm 20, I'm 23 now, about to be 24. And I don't know, as we're young, we just think like, okay, one day we'll figure it out. It'll all fall into place. But I mean, he's gotten up there in age and he's still figuring it out. Like, there's not just gonna be God isn't just gonna fly in on your 30th birthday and say, okay, son, here's the plan you've been waiting on. Now go run it. No, you have to be working on it in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. There's not a button that you can press and be like, okay, God, I don't reach that age to where you can. It's magic now, right? This is the magic age where I gained my wisdom, I got my grades, and now everything's just lollipops from now on. Like, no, you have to, and especially as a celebrity or someone who runs into a lot of money at an early age. I heard Shannon say this earlier today. It's not about how much money, he keeps saying this. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And so I think there is definitely I think you mentioned it a couple weeks ago. For celebrities, there's being dead and then there's being broke. And so I could understand him not wanting that picture out. Like, cause that's a safety violation. Who knows? What if there's some lunatic out there who hated his character? Now they come to Trader Joe's with a weapon. I don't like that they expose him like that.
Yeah, yeah, man. Job shaming. I've gotten to the place where, hey, I don't care what you say. If somebody watches this video and they like, man, they got regular jobs. They suckers. They slaves. Hey, hey, I'm good to being on the plantation, boss. Hey, I got great benefit. I
uh,
make six figures. I got great benefits, and we are living a wonderful life.
see,
And it has funded other ventures that I'm a part of as well. So I likes my 9 to 5, boss.
I hate that they paint it like that because it's not slavery. And here's my thing: like when you mentioned going to your current job and hating on it, trying to figure out your next job. I don't like that. You're robbing yourself, you're robbing your manager, you're robbing your peers. I mean, put it in football terms. Put it on in football terms. That's like I go to the Jets, but I really want to be on the Chiefs. So I'm running the routes with half the heart. I'm not really giving all effort. Your teammates will see that. The coach will see that. And you'll mess around and they'll trade you to the Browns or something. You're not going to the Chiefs now. And so put that back into real life.
Yeah.
I'll say part of what can fuel that frustration is that you haven't really done the work to figure out what you want to do in your 5 to 9. That's why you're at your 9 to 5 still mentally trying to figure out and piece that puzzle together, and you're frustrated and it's distracting you from your 9 to 5. But once you get to the point to where you're like, okay, I know what I want to do outside of my job and I'm committed to it, that gives you the freedom to say, okay, my 9 to 5 is just my 9 to 5. So when I'm at my 9 to 5, I'm giving it everything I got. But as soon as it's 5:01, I'm in the car, driving, excited, thinking about my 5 to 9. So you got to be able to have balance like that. But if you don't know what your 5 to 9 is, you're going to be at your 9 to 5 frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you a couple things that I'm coming off the cuff here, but a couple things that changed my perspective. So I hired a coach. I hired a coach and he had a business. He was making 6 figures in his business. 6 figures a month. He said something to me that was life changing. He said, "Man, I wish I would have got that information before I had did something different, like many years before I met him." He said, "Man, don't you ever quit your job before you have something else going on and like leaving into a hope, like moving to a hope. Like I hope this work out. Like if it's not proven and it's not like generating income or you hadn't raised money, like if you're not in those type of scenarios, he said you better keep your job. He said you better keep your job until you, and he wasn't like giving me, he was just like talking in general and he was just sharing his perspective on. He was like, it's foolish when people do that. He said, because now you're gonna be so stressed out about your living and that account just gonna be going down, 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 and you're gonna get more and more stressed, and it's gonna be, and you're not gonna have any creativity to be even do the thing that you said you wanted to do. And also it just takes time sometimes to
And
build a
money.
bit and money to build something on the side. And he said sometimes, and even sometimes then it doesn't work. He said,
Yep.
and but he said, man, if I can find a CEO job where I'm getting paid a half a mil and I can still do something on the side, like, and I can still do my thing on the side. He said, I would strongly consider it. And so he was giving me his perspective. He was like, he said, yeah, when you hear people talking, oh, I'm making 6 figures a month with my business. He said, what they ain't telling you is they telling you what the gross is. They're not telling you what the net is. He said, but what they not telling you is my overhead is 80,000 a month
Yep.
and I'm making 20 and I'm taking home 20. My payroll, all of that is factoring up to about 80 and I'm taking home 20. He said, to be honest, if depending on, if you start getting into some of those leadership roles, find a job where you're making $20,000 a month. And so when you start doing the math and you like, oh, you're not much better off than I am. Like, and it's just perspective. But then the other thing that changed my life was I didn't realize you can make so much money in corporate if you get in the right disciplines. If you get in the right places where companies find valuable. Now, don't get it twisted. We talking about job shaming, but at the end of the day, this is the KB Money Show, and you gotta anchor in your number one source of income first. And yes, you want to eventually diversify into other streams and not be solely tied to a job and certain decisions that they may make. You may lose that stream of income, but you got to lean in and you got to work with what you got. Like you can't be sitting up here job shaming in one motion and then you don't got nothing else going outside of work. And it's like what we doing? Like, and when you look at the statistics, when I started looking at the statistics of like what's really going on out here in the world, it really gives you even more confidence of like, hey man, I'm just gonna double down and doing what I'm doing because if you're looking in your surrounding, it's like everybody balling. But what you start to realize, what do we cover today? Massive amounts of credit card debt. That's just not low income earners either. That's
Who
people
getting
that
approved for all that credit?
right. You got yes, it's low income earners too, but then when you're looking at statistics of six people that make six figures still live check to check. When you remember the Jim Carrey episode, that's millions of dollars. You know, all the actors, they making millions of dollars check to check. And so you start to realize like, and then you start to look at the statistics of most of the businesses fail. And it's not that you're looking for statistics to say, okay, see, that's why I got a job and you don't do anything entrepreneurial, but hey, run your race, figure out what's what what's for you and just keep working your plan. And if entrepreneurship is part of your plan, cool, but man, don't let nobody shame you on not of having a job, man. Don't get in there, especially if you have a good paying job. Like don't do that to yourself. Like we living in this culture of not working. We got to do the work anyway. Because sometimes when you go out on your own, even if when you self-employed, guess what? You own a job now. It's you, and now you have to do all the things that when like you took for granted on your job of like you just flip your laptop open and you just start working. But now you got to provide the laptop, the software, the environment, the office space, all the things,
Yeah.
the marketing, the sales, the
You IT
payroll,
now.
you IT now. Like you need to pay for your health, your dental, like,
Oh yeah.
and so when you start adding it all up, all this conversation sounds good, but understand like you can only be where you are, and hey, you working a job making a good living for you. So I don't know how we've shamed just doing decent. I don't know, like everybody's gonna be lifestyle famous and the rich. I like you can build wealth over time. Like you can build good money. Like you could build a good living for yourself over time with a job. You just got to start early. It just takes time. And if you want more, do more, be more. The skills that you're learning on your job, like, okay, I'm learning these world-class skills. How can I start to strategically leverage some of those skills outside of work, whether it be coaching, whether it be, I just want to start this other thing. And you just start cultivating and getting help, as you mentioned, to like start learning how to be a business person because working a job and being a business owner is two different mindsets. And so you clocking in and just leaving at 5, that's not the mindset of you doing something that you own. You have to be thinking about that thing all the time. There is no PTO. There is none of that. And so like there's a lot that come along with that. I think that it's a beautiful thing for those that have built something and it's inspirational and that's the direction that you want to go. Do that thing. But like the job shaming, we done with that. We not job shaming no more. It's cool. It's fine to have a job. You making six figures on your job. Keep making your bread. Manage that money. Stack that money. Invest in yourself and keep moving forward because you can become a millionaire. I've joined some sites. I've joined some money talk conversations with all people in there work a job, and because of the career field that they were in, they're multimillionaires, bro. I didn't even know that that was possible. I'm like, what? Being a multimillionaire, and it's because they invested early. Their careers that they went down, they was making really good money. They was getting stock, they was getting RSUs, they was getting equity, they was getting bonuses, and they was taking that money, investing it, and they investing it. Then they ended up getting real estate. Then they was, like, and so like then they built the real estate portfolio, but they launched off of their job, and then they started doing other things, and getting into other things. And so like it's multiple ways to skin the cat. It's multiple ways to get there. But don't let nobody job shame you, bro.